Hello everyone and welcome back to another brand new GP Bikes Road Racing Championship. We are here now for the penultimate round of this championship and we get to go to the beautiful country of Germany for boat races today. We have a very classical track here, 1939 Deutschlandring I believe it's called, and later on we have Grüne, Hölle and Nordschleife. So again, big change up in tracks, very different. This is a more what I would class as a classical road race. This one run at the moment. We're seeing a couple of clips here before we get into qualifying. And obviously the Nordschleife is a short circuit, just a very long short circuit, if that makes sense. So a very mix up of races. Again, here we are now in qualifying, and I did know this track roughly. I had played it once before, not that long ago, and had a very faint idea of some of the corners, so it wasn't as hard to pick up as others. So it wasn't a million miles off that I could be competitive here, but at the same time I didn't expect to qualify in P2, so I'm only 0.7 off Foxer, who's been kind of head and shoulders the best rider of the championship so far, and we end up qualifying second, him on pole, and his teammate Bunte runs out the front row. Now for race one, as you can see, there's a little brick lane in front of us, just like in Indianapolis. You'll see here when I dump the clutch, it's actually a bit of a drop down. Obviously when you're doing 190 miles an hour across, you don't notice it, but as we release the clutch here, just a little bump, we all spin up, and I actually get a bit of a launch out of it, so it actually benefits me. And into P1 we go nice and early. Now I've said pretty much in every episode so far that I believe the Honda is slightly down on top end, so I'm not really sure at a track that's really pinned a lot of it that will be very good in terms of outright racecraft. And I'm starting to push really early on here in this lap, trying to build a gap, and I do what I did early on in the championship, just ran slightly wide, touched the grass, dipped my wheel off, and probably full tank of fuel kind of issue, and just a bit of understeer that I didn't expect. And yeah, race one is ruined for me, because for this I'm not going to get back to the podium from here without some miracles. So you can actually see that's Bunt also on the left there on the back bike. He's also had maybe a similar incident, or someone maybe checked up behind after I had crashed, so a bit unfortunate. But usually as it goes, race ones for me is usually the worst of the kind of round, and then we move on to the next one, and race two is a bit better. But yeah, we're going to continue this trend there early by crashing pretty much in the opening like 30 seconds of the lap. Now I feel fast, and I feel better. I was around a lot of people during practice, and I did have an advantage. We're quite lucky there. I think that was Casper's bike. And one thing I will note, and you'll probably notice it more later in the Nordschleife, is that in this pack I've only actually ridden the Honda. So when I signed up for it, I just picked the Honda. I saw there was a kind of team opening with this team. I saw, John, we just settle with that, take the Honda. I liked the audio in it, which kind of was nearly enough for me to decide. And I've always liked this Honda in terms of just looks and visuals of it, so it wasn't for me a hard decision. So we jumped on, so I didn't try any other bike, but apparently this one's quite lethargic in changing its direction. Now at the moment I don't notice it because I've never played any other bike. Unfortunately Bunton once ahead in front is lagging consistently. That's probably his biggest issue, is that he does pop in and out a lot. So at this point there, at the moment, even right now, I'm getting panicky because you've so little time to react to these people. I believe that was Smurf, I think, who just slid in front of me and in behind Bunta. So again, we're racing Bunta. I have no problem racing him. It's just that bit of lag that gets me, and he goes wide there, and oh my good god, again on a road course like this at such high speeds, any small movement is very hard. You can see here, this is kind of the sort of episode you're in for. I just right into the wall. I was changing my ECU settings. I don't remember which one. And it's just, on a short circuit you get away with that. I'm just not designed well for these long, fast, open circuits. This race for me, it's just kind of summed up this championship. I haven't really enjoyed it that much. I took it on to join this championship thinking it would be kind of a learning experience, and it has been in a way, but a lot of the tracks are very fast, bumpy, and they just simply don't suit me, and I don't really kind of get on with them. And I've had speed, I suppose, in bits, but I kind of really took this on, kind of this championship, really not in thinking that, well, I can actually challenge. It would be just more content this time of year, something to do. And unfortunately, I just don't think the setup of the championship, where we have multiple races on different tracks in a 1 week, suits me at all. I just don't agree with that for me. We're about to have another massive crash, so I break. What looks like I break about 1,000,000 miles too deep. Unfortunately, we just catch a rider who's much slower than me, and if that was a short circuit, you could probably pick up and go on the runoff. There's a fence on the outside of the track there. So again, like I was kind of just saying there, the multiple races at different tracks, I don't have the time, unfortunately. I don't think I'd ever have the time to really pick up 2 tracks in a week and get comfortable. So it really just didn't really suit me. But I just feel like them mistakes and hitting poles, I did not know that pole existed till I hit it, and that's because I just don't have enough time to practice, and that's kind of one of the issues I've had so far. But race one, a bit of a mess down in P8 from the front row, so it's probably one of our worst performances so far. So pretty disappointed with that overall, and again that kind of set the trend for the night. But we have race 2 now, and we know we are quick. We just need to stay out of kind of maybe the early issues that we're having, because we crashed early and then we kind of got caught with slower riders and other riders, and we kind of got our own issues, and then frustration got us and it kind of spiraled out of control. Again, a good launch here in race 2, take the lead early. Now this time we need to keep out of the hedges, but straight away Foxer, I'm not too sure why he couldn't do this in the first race, but he's after getting around me before I even got to 5th gear. So maybe straight away got into restriction where he didn't in the first race, I'm not sure, but you can see straight away the bike just isn't gripping. I'm not getting any feel, and he's a bit quicker, I think, due to high speed stuff. I have my bike geared, I'm pretty much on the limiter all down here, and I use it kind of turning, as well as if I go too long in the gears, I feel like I'm midpoint of the kind of maybe 10,000 RPM, I lose a bit. But straight away I'm thinking, right, he's the fastest man. If I can just stick with him, go with him, and maybe keep him under a bit of pressure or something, I'm not too sure. I've yet to even do a lap with him, so I don't know where he's good, where he's not, where I could be quicker, where the Suzuki's better, where the Honda's better. So straight away there, he looks to take a different line through there, and you'll see throughout the rest of this race, and I take the lead back. So I think it's great. I'm taking the lead here now. I much prefer clear open track, just me, the bike, the track. I don't like people in front of me, so this was kind of the perfect situation for me. But you'll start to notice, right, just on these road circuits, you can hit these bumps, and at such speed you can make slight errors. Like I didn't go very wide there, but pick it up and then try and keep off the side of the fence and pull a wheelie. So I just don't really have the skills for these roads. But we've dropped down to P3 now. We're behind both of the Suzuki, so that's Bunta in P2. So once again we found ourselves behind Bunta, but again I kind of know Bunta's decent speed. If I can kind of just stay with him, provided he doesn't lag, I'll probably have an okay race. And I was only 0.7 off Fox on qualifying, but you can kind of risk it for a lap, and I've been pretty good in qualifying throughout this whole kind of championship, which probably says all I need to know. I've never been good at qualifying. I'm not good at holding my breath for a lap, whereas in this championship I have. It just kind of shows that I don't really have the tracks down when you get to them. But as we come in here, look, Bunta just goes a touch wide, and I kind of just fancy a little lunge at him, and I'm feeling pretty decent so far in this race. I think a big part of the race is how the race starts. If you get away with the fast guys at the front, and you can kind of show a bit of speed early, your mental attitude towards the race just changes completely. You feel like you're in it, you have a chance, so something could go your way. Whereas if you have a race like I did last time out, where Crash Town 1, you immediately, Jesus, like I have so much work to get back to the podium. It's kind of like an uphill task, and you kind of nearly, you're not even meaning to, but you kind of down tools, and you kind of just think, oh, dude, just like 4 more laps of this place now. I have no interest in this track. As soon as the race kind of result is gone, you lose it completely. And I found, especially with this championship, I've crashed in many league races before, and you don't really have, you're like, oh shit, I'm after trying to a good chance at the podium, let me get back on and push. I can still make the difference, I can still make overtakes. But on the roads, you can't really push in the first place. So if you get into that attitude that I need to push to make up time, you'll continue to crash. But we're doing okay here against Foxer. This part of the track towards the end here, I don't seem to have the bike turning as well as him, especially changing direction. And in a straight fight, this just has a bit more of a straight line. So coming up here, I'm expecting to get blown away, which is kind of roughly what happens. You can see he's pulled out there so well. He just seems to not have as much issues changing direction and getting the bike on the better line. So I lose a lot in this last sector, which was kind of frustrating, because I got past Bunta and I kind of got back on roughly on terms of him, but he just has pulled away. And again, shows why he's going to won probably 80% of the races so far in this championship. So far, Foxer has been ridiculously quick, and he's pretty much going to win it this weekend, really, realistically, of the results. Again, a lot of people, I think, are in the same boat as me, that to get frustrated at tracks, because a lot of people haven't turned up towards the end of the championships, or are missing a lot of the faster guys. So races then get a little bit easier for you if you can kind of stay out of trouble. But start of lap 2 here, and we're having a reasonably decent go at it. We're actually looking like down this hill part here and into especially this right hander, we look a little bit closer now. Maybe it's just the effect of always kind of catching the rider front on the brakes and losing on corner exits. But I definitely think through this part here we are a bit quicker than Fox, and he just touches the grass there. It just gives me a bit of an incentive that he's not perfectly comfortable, because if you're comfortable and you're kind of keeping it tidy, as again, kind of similar mistake I made in the opening lap, and just runs a touch deep, and you have to pick the bike up. You can't really bounce off the edge of the curb as you would on a short circuit, so it's really cost some time. And again, I feel pretty good through this fast flowing section. Shock the flowing parts, I feel good, and I'm pretty much back with him now. It's just a question on where, if I can get the move done, because I already saw the last sector, the run to the line, I'm pretty much useless compared to him, so I need to find a way that I can get ahead of him and then stay ahead of him till I get to the fast flowing bits and maybe try and make a gap if I can do that. But even in these flowing parts where I'm catching him, I still don't have so much of an example or an advantage, sorry, that I could pull a move comfortably, so still riding close to my limit here just to kind of stick with him. But there's a couple of lines I know myself that others aren't taking. Through here, I seem to open it up more than most people, which means I get much more entry in here. I don't go as wide. Again, we'll look very close. We go to the inside. I hadn't really planned to go for the move. You'll see I kind of picked the bike up. There's a patch of tarmac there that's a different colour, and very similar move that we pulled on his teammate. Now, we didn't get this one down, unfortunately, and into these kind of series of hairpins where I look a lot stronger. We do end up getting the lead here. He just goes a touch wide and we power out. And we jump now to lap 3, and unfortunately into the exact same corner, I just completely go straight on, lucky to stay on track, and he pulls back into P1. Now, out of these hairpins, whether it's the Hondas, kind of low end grunt, or my gearing, or just rider kind of differences, I definitely get out of these ones better. But it's very hard to kind of make a move. Every time you see I kind of jump to the inside, but he's not really leaving me anywhere to go, so it's a bit of an issue that I felt really strong there and fast, but I couldn't really make anything of it, which was a bit frustrating. And then as soon as we kind of get through this next right-hander, this is the point of the track then where I think Foxer and the Suzuki just take over. They're just much quicker. He's a touch wide there, so he probably loses maybe a small, but then again, he seems to have the better exit then for the flowing part. But he doesn't look like he gets this very well. You can see he's a bit wider than I am there. And I know myself that if you kind of change direction too quickly, if you force it, it can tuck the front. So I was trying to be smooth and consistent. I was thinking, right, I'd like to see if I can even be this close to him. If I get a run on him, and if I get a bit of slipstream, I feel first, second, third, I'm probably better. 4th, 5th, 6th, him and Suzuki take over. But this is the first time we've seen what we can do in the slipstream. We get a great run, get a small little wheelie, and we'll just have a slipstream there. So that's the finish line, the little cobbled bit, and you can see we're about half a bike length back. So straight away, as we come on to the last lap, I ruled out I can't get to run on him from up the hill and get him by the line. So there's no way, because I got a perfect run there. I got a better run than him, and I had the slipstream. So there's no question I can't get that again and somehow go without Foxer making a big mistake up the hill. So it was critical for me that if we could keep pushing on in this opening, I think this part of the track we're very equal. But I think the next right-hander on and through the trees is where I'd like to call it. I think I have a small advantage. So similar to the race 1 or race 2, I think it was race 1 actually in Bathurst, where I was up against Luke Hyde-Rock, and I felt like towards the end of the lap he had the power advantage, which was kind of nullify my ability to kind of take the win, which ended up happening. So I was thinking to myself again, we just need to push. Look, we have a bit of a gap. I'm not going to beat him in championship. I don't really care about the championship too much, so I'd like to just kind of go out and try and win a race. So I'm pushing on quite a bit here, and I feel very fast. I actually feel decent for once on the road. So I'm just trying to limit my mistakes. And again, we make a slight one there, just a touch wide. You meant to get a bit more flow through that corner, and that was probably one mistake where I thought that maybe I've just kind of given him a way back onto the back of me, because I fell through here. You can see we're going white line to white line, slightly over there. But if you can just kind of get on and off the grass quickly, you don't lose too much from it. I was struggling a small bit to change direction here. I end up a bit too tight here, which compromises my run through it. He's still there, but I know I have pulled a small bit of time in this part of the track, so I'm thinking to myself, just need to keep building as much so that when we get to the part of the track where he will pull me back, realistically up the hill, on no slipstream, he will pass me just with the power. But if he has a run on me and slipstream, there's nothing I can do. We saw a couple of times already in this championship how as soon as someone starts picking up my slipstream behind, I'm a sitting duck. So again, we're really just pushing through here, just trying to make sure that the parts of the track were fast, we're getting the most out of it. And so far, it's been a very good lap. Very tidy. One minor little mistake where just didn't get the bike to turn in, a little small mistake. First mistake comes as we get to the part of the track where we need to start pushing. So again, it was kind of a mental thing. I knew as soon as we got through that right-hander, I thought, right, we have to kind of keep it clean from here. And of course, straight away you make mistakes. So I think in here now, I know I can kind of drag out of the corner better. He goes a touch wide, and I just want to pick the throttle up. He just comes back there, and I just kind of get pinched, and then just don't have the precision to get off the grass. And I'm thinking here now, I kind of caught, like this is the part of the track that I needed a bit of advantage to make the difference to get to the line before him. I know we're behind him. I'm thinking, like, again, I'm going to need a mistake in boxes. So I was kind of thinking to myself, look, we're going to risk it, and we're going to start taking some risks and see if we can make something happen. So you can see we're very deep in here, nearly clipping the back of him. I'm thinking, right, if I can get a good run, he can maybe make a mistake, hopefully. But we're trying to go through this corner. You can see our tipping so early and a lot of speed. And again, it was kind of bound to happen, really. There's no way if I kind of followed him and sat in the slipstream, I wouldn't have got to the lead. And I was kind of only in it to win. So, again, it was unfortunate because we had a great battle. Really, really enjoyable race. We were setting really fast lap times. And fairness to Foxer, once again, he has come out top, as he has most times this year. So his teammate finishes third. Of course, we were 1 and 2, me and Foxer. So again, that is another perfect round for him as he wins both races. And I think that was enough to get the championship done, with others done, but we still obviously have another race to go. So now we have probably one of the most famous tracks in the world, really. And I actually do know this track. I can't use the excuse that I don't know it. I know it quite well. I spent a lot of time over the years on many different games, cars, bikes, and all sorts around this place, so don't really have the excuse of that. But what excuse I'm going to pull this week, of course, again, I just didn't have track time, and I think it really punched me. You can see we qualified 9th. I was slow. I have nothing else really. It was me. There's Honda's way further up the grid. It's not the bike. It was just as simple. I didn't have speed. Didn't feel comfortable. Didn't have a good setup, and the kind of giveaway is that each race we change setup and we changed a lot. So it's always a sign when you're changing setups, trying to find something that you're not comfortable with, you're not really going to go quick. So we are a long way down the grid after such a good one in the previous race. So kind of thinking if we can get away with some of the fast guys and maybe just sit in and hope for the best, and that's kind of the plan for both races. We get a lovely start. We just go to the inside of Bunta. We're very lucky there. He does actually have the awareness to leave us past and not pinch us in the wall, because that would have been a bit of a mess. And we're up straight away to P5. So half their grid position already almost, and I kind of think to myself, as I've already said, just kind of look, just getting a bit of rhythm, follow them. I probably will pick up things as they go, because I felt like that I was very much on the limit with the bumps around here. Luke Ride Rock and the BMW very hot into the first few corners. Very lucky just to keep on the track there, because of course, as you can see, you go straight off the track, it's grass and a barrier, so you're not really getting away with any mistakes around here. So straight away thinking, have to just stick in this, maybe use a bit of slipstream, just kind of use them as a guide. Hadn't done many laps here because in my head I knew the track, so I was like, I can kind of just turn up and race and I'll be somewhat competitive. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and mainly it's just bike setup. I just felt really rough at high speed, and the bike's moving around a lot, and I don't particularly like the bike moving on me. It's one of those things, when the bike moves, I kind of back off of it, and then if anything, the bike moves more. And we're flying along here, doing nicely so far, and you can just see as we come into this little dip, the bike just goes left. I have to roll, and then I have to roll the jump, and you see one of my teammates here who comes really fast up to the back of me, Bob. Fortunately, he does end up running wide into the wall. That's another Honda on the ground, so bad time there for the Honda team. Not too sure if that was my fault with Bob. Again, the bike just veered left on the brakes, or not even on brakes, wide open throttle. Our first mistake comes down here. We just get dragged in slightly. Do very well to stay on, but the key here now is we've lost kind of the riders in front. We've lost a little toe. So immediately I'm thinking, alright, we need to just try and get into a bit of a rhythm. And you can see here now, this is N-Jerk. So one of the front guys has crashed. We managed to get past him. So we're back up to about P4. So it's not been terrible. But again, just with that incident with Bob, I just felt bad because it was just one of the things. I was so slow in front of him. It was pretty much the same instance I had in the race one back at the Deutschlandring, where a slow ride in front made the other rider go off. So it was a bit unfortunate. You can see N-Jerk here in my slipstream on the really long back straight. And he's just absolutely flew up to me. He was so far back. And again, as soon as they pick up slipstream, it was a really no contest. Now, you could see I was pretty much on the limit ever. I felt if I went any longer with the gearing, I actually would have fallen out of the power in a lot of the rest of the racetrack. So much of this track is second, third gear that you want to have a good bit of mid power. And I felt if I went really long in the gearing, it would have held me back so much. And I felt with this Honda, if you go really long in the gearing, even like 5th and 6th gear, you can kind of be out of the power where you nearly need a slipstream to benefit. So I felt like it's better just maybe kind of prioritize the rest of the track. Now on last lap here, N-Jerk definitely was quicker than me. I followed him a bit in qualifying, and he has a crash, and I'm not sure what, but I've done the exact same thing. He maybe looked to me like he was in slightly hot. Unfortunately though for me, I'm not sure if I got slightly distracted or if I reacted, but yeah, we both kind of remount and go again, and I kind of think, right, he's still, it says P3, I believe he actually might be P3 at this point, I'm not too sure. Max Hood is really funky on these long races. Unfortunately, not a curb, not a crash. It's kind of been the summing up of the episode. He actually crashes further on in the lap, but we don't really actually catch it, and we end up finishing P6. So again, one of those ones where up until the finish line, you don't really know what position you are. So P6, qualified P9. Overall, that was actually a good result. I didn't realise that much at the time, but It was a decent result. Now, kind of came down to other people disconnected on the grid, which kind of gave me a free few positions, so it wasn't a great performance on my behalf. Race 2, we have absolutely upended the bike. We've created a completely different setup. I've tried basically to get the bike to be more reactive, change direction, a bit stiffer. It was just, to be honest, it was a bit of a kind of gumball, fire it in and hope for the best. Once again, got a good start, got ahead of our teammate, got ahead of N-Jerk, and we're back up in this P5 position, similar as race 1, so I'm thinking, right, let's see what this setup does. Can I just stay with them? In the first race, I made the mistakes going over the hill where the bike kind of went left, and then the crash that wasn't a crash where we hit the barrier. I lost load time, and as soon as you fall out of the toe, my race kind of went from there. I didn't have the speed on my own, so I was kind of putting myself under a bit more emphasis here that we have to stick with these guys. We have to stick with them. If I can stick with them, my race will be a lot better. I'll get pulled along, and you never know, other people can make mistakes, and if you're in the hunt, you can kind of get away with things. So we crashed here on the previous race, and coming up here, get on the grass, and then we get a big bounce going up it and a massive tank slapper, and I just have to throw the bike in, and luckily it sticks. Very, very lucky. We've seen a lot of times so far this championship when we get in the air, the bike doesn't seem to handle well. We're coming in here again. Now, you kind of have to keep the bike bent over. I've tried to pick it up, and the exact same thing happens, even worse this time. And again, we've lost a big time because we've had to roll, and then we're really, really tight coming into this left-hander. But I kind of try to pinch a bit of time back on the brakes here, risk a bit to stick with these guys. And we actually gained quite a bit back, so I was kind of thinking, right, this is so far so good. Once again on the grass, and really push down here. And look, we're doing 140 miles an hour. I just get slightly off the race line, which means I go across this curb, and I don't have you don't have this at that speed. You can't really adjust your line that much, so we've ended up just rolling. Because if I tried to come back across the race line, I would have killed N-Jerk. So yeah, that's kind of the thinking there. Is just we're going so fast, I can't really adjust. Now we're coming up this hill here. We've kind of stuck with N-Jerk, so I'm kind of thinking this has been pretty good. The setup seems to be working, and at this point in time, I haven't just someone right in front of me. It's good marker, and we were probably almost half lap. I always think the half the lap is when you start going up this hill here. You start to climb to the top part of the circuit before you drop back down. So we're kind of halfway. So I'm thinking, again, lap 1 is going pretty well here. And up this hill here, we're really finding a good time here on N-Jerk, and we're really catching him. And unfortunately here, right, he makes a slight mistake, goes wide, and we just have so much momentum, I have to kind of just go for the inside, otherwise I would have hit him. So I had to basically avoid him, and then I hit the curb. And it was one of those ones where from there on, then I absolutely lost the head. Like I mentioned in kind of race 1 previously, that as soon as I'm out of the battle, I kind of just dropped the tools. Thought a good idea was to bunny hop across that curb. We find a bit of speed in the rest of the lap and catch up to the back of Tourer, hit a curb. Decided to try and whip the bike across here and do a little scrub. That was bloody clever of me. Again, complete lapse in concentration. I was completely finished with this. This time as well, I get the bike over the barrier. To be honest, I wish there was a wormhole there and the game would have just swallowed me up. Another crash here. Probably a bit too much rear brake. First gear, what was I doing? In fairness, this crash here would have, not really my fault. It kind of felt like we just got into a dip, front went. Not really much I could do. And you can kind of see here, usually I stay around and talk to people after the race. As soon as we cross the line, back to the pit, out of the game. I was done. I just absolutely lost every interest. And it's just kind of, the videos are taking a couple of days to put together because there's 4 races to edit down. There's qualifying, everything. There's about 3 hours of footage I have to go through. So by the time I get to edit the races and kind of talk back, I've usually kind of gotten over them. So I'm not maybe as bad, but most of the races I don't actually enjoy because all of these incidents I'm having. And we're second in championship, which is probably more of a sign of people haven't shown up more than my speed. We haven't really had many races where I've gone, right, that was a good performance. I'm quite happy with that. Most ones where we've had decent results are other people's misfortune. So we're going to leave it there. It is the penultimate one, thank God, really. I'm kind of wishing this championship to be done now at this point. We just have 2 more races. The Norris Ring, I believe, which is a really, really short lap. And I actually know it from a Jimmy Broadbent video. And the Macau Street Circuit, so a really difficult one to finish with. But that is going to be it. And we're back once again in a week's time. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this massacre of my Honda in this race. I shall see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. See you next one. So long, go forward.